A very warm welcome to all the viewers of this video lecture. In this lecture, we will talk about functions, which comes under Unit 3. This lecture will help you to understand the basic concept of functions. Why do we use functions in C? How you can declare and in the earlier lectures, we have discussed about one-dimensional array as well as two-dimensional array. We have seen how one-dimensional array can be stored, read, and printed, as well as we have saw the linear search, how a linear search can be applied on a one-dimensional array. Similarly, we have seen for two-dimensional arrays also how they can be stored in row major form. Now today we will discuss a very important and vital component of C programming, which is called function. The concept of function has been taken from a very general aspect, and you can easily understand it taking examples from real life. I will first tell you the formal definition of function, and then I will explain you the concept of functions in a general way. So the definition says a function is a self-contained program segment that carries out some specific and well-defined task. A function will always carry out its intended action whenever it is called or invoked. I will come to the called and invoked portion later in this lecture. I will tell you what is the meaning of calling a function or invoking a function. Before that, let us see at the basic concept of function. So, let us say I have a big task. This is my task. I will call it task 1, T1. Okay. So suppose I have got this big task which I have to implement by programming. Now any task this is one task which may be too complicated. And for any human programmer or any human being to solve this task from the beginning till the end in one shot may be very difficult. So often what we do is we break up the task into smaller subtasks. So I will, let's say, break this task in some subtasks. There are a number of tasks in between it. These subtasks will together solve this big task. So these are called subtasks. These tasks jointly will help us to solve the first task, the bigger task. Now we can say if we think of a program segment as a part of a program, if the task is broken into big task and the big task is then broken down in the small task, a number of small tasks will be there, and it will be easier to write the program for each of these smaller tasks or the smaller module. And each of these tasks can be independently tested for its correctness, whether they are working properly or not. They can be separately tested. And then all these are connected together. If all these are connected together one after another, and then one can ultimately get the entire task done, the bigger task done. So instead of addressing the whole task into execution at once, we implement it in breaking down manner in number of subtasks. So now we know that a function is a segment of code which will perform a particular task. A function will always process the information that is passed to it from the calling portion of the program and return a single value. It may not return a value also. There may be some functions that may never return anything. We will come to this later. So now the question arises is, why use functions? Why one should use functions? So there are some very useful advantages of function that make the programming easy, which is why we prefer using function in C. So first thing is, it allows one to develop a program in modular fashion. Whenever you develop a program using functions, it makes your program look very convenient and easy. It helps you to divide one program into multiple modules. You divide your programs in modules and they can be easily handled. This approach is called divide and conquer. It is easy to implement and easy to test. You can easily test those modules independently and then you can combine them and implement them. The smaller tasks or smaller functions or smaller modules can be easily tested and implemented. So the advantage that we get by the means is that we can divide the problem into smaller parts and thereby we can conquer the smaller problem, and then we can conquer the actual task or bigger task by combining those smaller subtasks. We can check whether each of these components are working correctly or not, and then we find that components are working correctly or they are verified, then they are connected together, and then the entire problem is solved successfully. So the advantage is to write the complex problem broken down into smaller functions and which can be easily implemented and easily tested. To understand the reusability of functions, let us take an example. So there is a guy A, and then there is a guy named B. These two guys have been assigned two tasks, task 1 and task 2. Now, these two tasks are divided further into subtasks for successful completion. So T1 needs these three tasks to be performed for its successful completion. Let us name it function 1, function 2, and function 3. Now, this T2 task assigned to guy B needs further 3 tasks to be completed successfully. These are called F4, F1, and F3. So this is our task 1 and this is our task 2. Two different people are doing these two tasks and they need different set of subtasks to be completed to complete these tasks. But there is portion of task that is common to both of these main tasks. the function 1 is reusable here and function 3 is reusable here. So first guy will develop these 3 codes to do his task, and the same code will be reused, or the same functions will be called in the another program for this task T2. So we can use existing functions and building blocks of new programs. Also, the functions can be used to hide the internal details, and they can be very helpful in abstraction. So now we will talk about function declaration, function defining, and function calling. So before going into formal definition, so now we will talk about function declaration, function defining, and function invocation or function calling. Before going into formal definition, I would like you to give an example which will help you to understand how function works. So, like earlier, I'll take an example of a bigger task. There is this bigger task, and there are these 2 subtasks that are needed to be completed in order to fulfill or successful completion of task 1. So this I will call task main, just like we use main in our C program. Let us call it main. So this is my main task, and these are 2 functions that are needed in main function, main program, F1 and F2. So in my main task, I will do something, some task, some simple task. And here I need function 1. So I will declare it and call it here. So calling it from here will take the control to F1. I am calling F1 here. So control of the program will goes to the F1, and there is some code in F1 here, which code will be executed, and it will return some value to this point, the point right after where I have called that function. So this control will also transfer some sort of data to F1, which will be needed in this computation. To compute the statements, whatever there in F1, it will need some data which will be given by main program. Now, after getting the result here, I will again perform this main task, main function will again perform something, and then it need the F2 function. So it will call the F2 function. The data will be transferred to F2, some sort of data, and the control will be given to F2. F2 will perform the task. All the statements that are there will be performed, and it will return with some result, and result will be given to the main function, the main program. So this is called calling and returning of function. So this is called return. Whatever the result or the value function returns is called return. And this is called calling or invocating the function. Another thing to consider is that we know that we can use one code or one code segment called function multiple times in various programs. Let us say there are two guys, guy A and guy B, who has to perform some task, and these two tasks will have a need of a function called average. Okay, these two tasks will require to find the average of three integers, let's say. Both of these A and B will require to find average of three integers at some point of time in the computation of their original task. So now what is be done? What will be done? Let's say there are three values, three integers here, A, B, C, and here are three values, P, Q, and R. Now this program, segment of code will take three inputs of three. It will take three parameters, three integers to compute the average of those three integers. So A will go to this. Let's say this is X, this is Y, and this is Z. So A will go to X, B will go to Y, and C will go to Z. Similarly, for B, P will go to X, value of Q will go to Y, and value of R will go to Z. So the numbers for which A wants to compute the average different from number that B will compute the average for, but the average is common for both. Therefore, suppose the number that some integers say A, B, and C, and the person wants to find the average of three numbers. In the other, the B portion is PQR. These are just variable names, and they can be anything. Now this average can not remember PQR or ABC. So this average cannot, this code cannot remember ABC or PQR. It will just take, it is just like a box with three pipes coming in, and the data will come in through those pipes. So the names of this, the coming from A and B doesn't matter. So when the main function wants to compute the average of ABC, he will send the values through these pipes, and it will get the average computed. The average will be returned from here to A, and it will point back to the same point where it has been called. So now when B wants to compute the average, he will average of PQR. The P will be sent to the pipe X, the Q will be sent to the pipe Y, and the R will be sent to pipe Z, and average will be computed, and it will be returned to the point where it has been called. The answer will be returned here, the result. So a function declaration tells the compiler about the function name and how to call that function. the actual body of function which contain the actual statement of code of the task it will going to perform, it can be defined later separately. You can see on your screen how to declare a function. This is how it can be declared. You have to give return type, return function name, and parameter list. Return type means what type of result it is going to return to the main function. Let's say if a segment of code is going to compute the average of 3 numbers, which can be integer or float type. So we will keep the return type as float. Function name should be relevant to the task that is going to be performed, and you should avoid using the names that are already there in the for the functions, predefined functions. Parameter list contain the parameters that will be passed to the function. For example, here we have taken int max, which is the number of which is the name of a function which will find out the maximum of 2 numbers, and integer num1 and integer num2. These are the 2 parameters. Int is the return type, max is the name for the function, and these 2 are the parameters of the functions. The name of parameters are not generally important in the declaration. So if the num is not given here, these 2 names are not given here, even that will be fine. So you can write int max, int comma int. This is how you declare. This is the syntax of declaring the function. To define the function, this is the general way. You can see on your screen. You will write the return type, you will write the function name, and you will write the parameter list, and then in curly braces there will be body of function. Body of function means the statements or codes which will be used to compute the task assigned to the function. So here is an example. Int max, which is the name of int is the return type, max is the function name, and int num1, num2. This code will find out the maximum of 2 numbers, and it will return the result to the main function. So return type mean a function may return a value. The return type is the data type of the value that function is going to return. Some functions perform the desired operation without returning a value. In that case, return type is keyword void. When we use void, it means that function is not going to return any value. If this program would print the maximum number here, it would not return anything as a result. So if this program would perform a task which include printing or something like that, it will not return any parameter, it will not return any value to the main function. In that case, we will use void before the function name. Function name, it can be actual name of the function, and it should be relevant to the relevant to the task that function is going to perform. Parameters are like the placeholders. When a function is invoked, you pass a value to the parameter. This value is referred to as the actual parameters or arguments. The parameter list refers to the type and order and number of the parameters of the function. Then comes the function body. The function body contains the collection of statements that define what function is going to do. While creating a C function, you give a definition of what the function has to do. To use the function, you will have to call it. That function to perform the defined task. So, once you have defined a function, you will have to call it to perform the particular task whenever you need to complete that task. You can call your function anywhere in your main function. When a program calls a function, the program control is transferred to the called function. Whichever function you are going to call, the program control will be transferred to that function. A call function performs the defined task, and when it returns it finds the return statement or function ending closing brace is reached, it returns the program control back to the main program. To call a function, you simply need to pass the required parameters along with the function name, and if function returns a value, then you can store that return value. Now we will see this example. In this example, at start we have declared the function max. This is the function declaration. This statement is for function declaration. After that, here we have called the function max with two parameters a and b. Now here we have called the function max, and we are giving the program control to called function. The called function is this. This segment of code is the definition of max function. Now here we have called this function called max. So the program control will reach this segment of code. This particular task will be performed. It will compare two numbers given to it, and it will tell which of the number is the maximum, and it will return the value here. So once the task is complete, once either the return statement has been encountered or the ending braces are encountered, the control is again transferred to the point where it has been left, and the value is returned to the main program, and also the program control is returned to the main program. Once the value has been returned, it will publish the value, it will print the value, or whatever task further has to be done will be done. So we have seen that a function is a group of statements that perform a particular task assigned to it with the help of the computational statements written in it. You can divide your code up to as many as separate functions. How you divide your code is up to you, but logically the division is such that each function performs a particular task. It makes your task modular, easy to understand, easy to test, and it increases the testability as well as reusability of the code. A functional declaration tells the compiler about the function's name, return types, and parameters. A function definition provides the actual body of the function. It has the statement which will have computational code. A function can also be referred as method or subroutine or procedures. In other languages, you may call it method or procedure. For C, we generally call it function. I hope you have understood